When we think about fashion, there are few things as powerful, elegant, and eye-catching as high heels. A pair of high heels can completely change the way a person walks, the way they stand, and the way they feel. They make legs look longer, posture straighter, and they often carry an image of glamour, beauty, and power. Today, high heels are mostly connected with women, red carpets, fashion shows, and luxury brands. But if we look back into history, we discover that high heels were not always what we think they are. They have been worn by men and women, by royalty and by workers, by soldiers and by actors. The history of high heels is not only about shoes, it is about culture, identity, and society. The first thing we should know is that high heels are much older than we imagine. Many people think they were created in the 20th century for fashion, but in truth, their history goes back hundreds, even thousands of years. One of the earliest uses of elevated shoes was in ancient Egypt. Around 3,500 years ago, both men and women in Egypt wore shoes with raised soles during special ceremonies. They were not everyday shoes, but rather a symbol of importance. But perhaps even more interesting, butchers in Egypt sometimes wore high-soled shoes to keep their feet away from the blood on the ground. So, from the very beginning, heels were not just fashion, they were practical. In ancient Greece and Rome, there were also forms of platform shoes. In Greek theater, actors wore shoes called kefirni, which had thick soles to make them taller on stage. The height of the shoe even showed the importance of the character in the play. Again, we see that raised shoes were not only about looks, they had social meaning. But when we talk about what we now call high heels, the story really takes shape in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. In the 10th century, horse riders in Persia wore shoes with a raised heel. Why? Because the heel helped their feet stay secure in the stirrups. Riding horses was an important part of Persian military culture, and the heel gave them better balance. This idea later traveled to Europe when Persian soldiers visited in the 16th century. European men saw these heeled shoes and began wearing them too. First for riding and then as a sign of status. Soon, high heels became a symbol of power for men, especially among the nobility. In the late 1500s and early 1600s, rich European men wore heels to show that they did not need to walk much or work. The higher the heel, the higher their social status. One of the most famous lovers of high heels was King Louis XIV of France. He ruled in the 1600s and was not very tall, so he wore heels to look more powerful. His shoes often had bright red heels, which became a mark of royal status. No one except the king and his court could wear red heels. Centuries later, this idea would inspire Christian Louboutin, the designer famous for his red-soled high heels. At this time, high heels were mostly a male fashion. Women also wore them, but it was really in the 17th and 18th centuries that high heels became part of women's fashion in a bigger way. Women began to wear heels to copy the powerful style of men. At first, the shoes looked similar for both genders, but slowly the style changed. Men's heels became shorter and more practical, while women's heels became taller and more decorative. By the 18th century, high heels were a clear part of women's fashion. After the French Revolution, things changed again. The revolution in the late 1700s brought new ideas of equality and simplicity. Heels, which were seen as symbols of aristocracy and luxury, disappeared for a while. Men stopped wearing them almost completely, and women's fashion also moved toward flatter shoes. For nearly 100 years, high heels were rare, but fashion always comes back. In the 19th century, especially during the Victorian era, high heels returned for women. They were often small and carved, giving the foot a delicate look. In the late 1800s, photography and magazines began to spread images of fashion, and heels became connected with femininity and beauty once again. Then came the 20th century, the time when high heels exploded into modern fashion. Around the 1920s and 1930s, designers began experimenting with new shapes. The stiletto heel, thin and tall, appeared in the 1950s. It quickly became a symbol of elegance and seduction. Women like Marilyn Monroe made stiletto heels iconic. Walking in them was not easy, but they gave a striking look that captured attention everywhere. At this point, fashion brands began to play a huge role. In the 20th century, some of the most famous luxury fashion houses began to design high heels as we know them today. Salvatore Ferragamo, an Italian designer, was one of the first to experiment with new heel shapes and materials in the 1930s and 1940s. He designed shoes for Hollywood stars, creating wedge heels and platform shoes that changed women's fashion. Later, in the 1970s and 1980s, brands like Manolo Blahnik and Jimmy Choo became famous for their elegant high heels. Their shoes were worn by celebrities and appeared in movies and TV shows. For example, Manolo Blahnik heels were famously loved by Carrie Bradshaw, the main character in Sex and the City. This helped make the brand known all over the world. Jimmy Choo became a favorite among Hollywood stars walking the red carpets. Through all of this, high heels have been surrounded by mystery. Not the scary kind, but the kind that comes from the way they change perception. Why do high heels make someone look more confident, more powerful, more attractive? Part of it is physical. They change the posture, lift the body, and make the walk more dramatic. But part of it is cultural. For centuries, heels have carried the meanings of power, beauty, and status. Even today, when someone wears high heels, people notice. High heels also have many interesting stories. For example, in the 1970s, platform shoes became extremely popular, not only for women, but also for men in the disco culture. Singers and dancers wore huge platform heels on stage, showing that high heels were not limited to one gender. Another story is that in some Asian countries, such as Japan and China, women wore shoes with raised wooden soles long before European heels became common. These shoes, like the Japanese Geta, were not exactly the same as modern heels, but they showed the same idea of height, status, and style. Today, high heels come in endless designs: stilettos, wedges, blocked heels, hidden heels, platforms. Each has its own history and its own moments in fashion. Some are comfortable, some are difficult to walk in, but all of them continue the long tradition of using shoes not only to protect the feet, but to express identity and beauty. High heels are not only fashion objects, they are part of stories, dreams, and images. A single pair of shoes can be remembered forever if it is connected to a powerful moment. For example, Marilyn Monroe's high heels became part of her unforgettable style. Lady Gaga wore extremely high platform heels that shocked and amazed audiences. Princess Diana was often photographed in elegant heels that became part of her iconic image. Fashion never stays still, and heels have always changed shape depending on the time, the culture, and the people wearing them. In the 1960s and 1970s, for example, fashion was breaking rules everywhere. Women were gaining new freedoms and young people wanted bold styles. Singers like Elton John and David Bowie made huge platform heels part of their stage costumes. So while many people today think of high heels as feminine, the 1970s proved that they could also be playful, theatrical, and shared across genders. By the 1980s, the mood changed again. This was the decade of power suits, big shoulders, and sharp fashion. Women were entering offices and boardrooms in larger numbers, and fashion designers responded with bold, pointed stilettos. These heels weren't just about looking pretty. They were about looking powerful. Walking into a meeting with sharp stiletto heels sent a message: confidence, authority, and presence. In Venice, during the Renaissance, women wore shoes called chopin. These weren't small heels, they were enormous platforms, sometimes more than 20 inches high. Women often needed servants to help them walk by wearing them. The shoes made them taller and showed that they didn't need to walk much, which was a symbol of wealth. Doctors have often warned about the damage they can cause to feet, knees, and backs. Its high heels have never disappeared. They remain one of the most enduring symbols in fashion. No matter how many years pass, high heels will always have a place in the world of fashion. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.